Okay, picture this. It's the late 1800s. There's this young boy in Norway just staring up, completely mesmerized by the Aurora Borealis, those, shimmering lights in the sky.
Hmm.
He must have been thinking, what are those? What secrets are they holding? Well, that boy was Kristian Birkeland.
Right.
And today, that's who we're diving into. This scientist who's kind of fallen between the cracks of history a bit,
Yeah.
but whose work is, well, surprisingly relevant still.
Absolutely. And our mission here really is to pull out the most fascinating bits, the most impactful parts of Birkeland's life and science for you.
Yeah, exactly. A quick but deep look at this incredible figure and what his vision achieved.
And it started early, didn't it? This intense curiosity. He
Yeah.
was barely 18, just, legally an adult and already getting scientific papers
He's
published.
18.
I know, and he wasn't just happy looking at the aurora. He had this fundamental need to understand where it came from.
That drive, right? Not just observe, but explain.
That really sets the stage for everything he did later.
And he didn't just think about it. He built stuff. These Torella experiments.
Oh, the Torellas.
Yeah. Can you imagine building tiny Earths in vacuum chambers in your lab, trying to recreate the aurora?
It sounds like science fiction almost. Using these incredibly high voltages, trying to mimic space phenomena, it's kind of wild.
It really shows his ingenuity, his willingness to try something completely new.
It does. And these weren't just toys. The Torellas let him actually model the Earth's magnetic field in a controlled way.
Right.
It was a totally novel approach to studying how stuff from the sun might affect us right here on the ground.
But, I mean, that kind of cutting-edge work,
Yeah.
it costs money. And Norway back then wasn't exactly flush with cash for this
Right.
kind of research.
Not at all. He was funding a lot of it himself, using his own earnings, even profits from some early inventions he made.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
It really makes you appreciate the personal sacrifice involved sometimes.
It really does. It shows how much passion and, frankly, stubbornness you need when, the system isn't set up to support that kind of ambitious project.
And it wasn't just money, was it? The scientific community itself. They weren't exactly cheering him on.
Oh, definitely not. His big idea that particles from the sun actually cause the aurora, which, we now know is correct,
Yeah.
was met with huge skepticism. Some people basically ridiculed it for decades.
That must have been tough. A reminder that being ahead of your time can be a really lonely place.
It's a classic story in science, isn't it? Big new ideas often shake things up and the establishment pushes back.
Yeah.
Birkeland's struggle shows that progress isn't always smooth. It takes time for groundbreaking stuff to sink in.
But then the story takes this completely wild turn. He tries to invent this electromagnetic cannon.
Right. For military funding, ironically.
And the demonstration is apparently just this huge mess. Like
Right.
noise and smoke, a total failure.
A spectacular flop by all accounts.
Right after that failure, he bumps into this industrialist Sam Ide.
Yeah, a chance meeting.
And out of that conversation comes the Birkeland-Ide process. Artificial fertilizer.
Incredible, isn't it? Turning this massive public failure into something that would literally change agriculture, feed millions, and totally transform Norway's economy.
Talk about making lemonade.
It just shows, innovation can pop up anywhere. His goal was one thing, military tech, but the side effect of failing led to something completely different and arguably much more beneficial.
You really have to stay open to those unexpected paths.
Exactly, even when Plan A crashes and burns.
So you'd think, okay, he's invented this world-changing industrial process. He's probably set financially.
Oh,
Maybe he'll focus on that.
you might think so, but no.
No, he goes right back to the Aurora.
His first love, you could say. He poured all that energy, maybe some of the money too, I imagine, back into his space research.
Yeah, and ended up writing this monster of a book, 850 pages.
His magnum opus,
Look.
yeah. And it basically laid out the foundations for so much of modern space science, solar physics.
Even though people weren't fully accepting it yet.
Right, it just shows what truly drove him. The industrial success was great. It gave him resources, recognition.
Sure.
But his real passion, the thing that kept him up at night, was figuring out the universe. The knowledge itself was the reward.
But that kind of intense focus, it often comes with a cost, doesn't it?
It often does. His personal life seems to have suffered. His marriage failed. His health wasn't great towards the end. Their suggestions may be related to sleeplessness, the stress, perhaps even the sleeping aids he apparently used.
And then his death in Tokyo in 1917 is still a bit mysterious. Unclear exactly what happened.
Yeah, there are questions. It paints a picture of someone totally consumed by their work, maybe sacrificing other parts of their life for it.
That intensity can be isolating.
Very much so. The life of a pioneer often is. It's a reminder of the human side of these big scientific leaps, the sacrifices made.
But then, fast forward a few decades.
Right, long after he's gone.
About 40 years later, we get satellites. And guess what?
They prove him right.
Exactly. Irrefutable proof from space that his theories about the aurora, about solar particles hitting the Earth's magnetic field,
Yeah.
it was all correct.
It's such a powerful vindication, isn't it? Shows that good scientific work, even if it's dismissed initially, can eventually be proven right.
Patience is a virtue in science, I guess.
And perseverance. His ideas, resisted for so long, were ultimately validated by new technology and more evidence. Science evolves.
And his legacy is, I mean, it's everywhere in Norway, at least. His face is on their money, the 200 kroner note.
That's right.
And he didn't just invent the fertilizer process. He had something like 60 patents.
Yeah, a whole range of things, from practical stuff like margarine improvement.
Margarine, okay.
Believe it or not, a method for preserving caviar.
Caviar, okay, now that's range. Fertilizer and caviar.
It just shows the breadth of his mind, right?
Yeah.
Not just fundamental physics, but applying scientific thinking to all sorts of practical problems. A true innovator.
So when you, listening to this, think about Birkeland's story, what are the big takeaways?
Well, for me, it's about the power of having a really clear vision.
Yeah.
And the sheer resilience needed, facing money problems, facing skepticism, personal issues, but sticking with it.
And having the courage to just, ignore the doubters and follow your own path.
Absolutely. So maybe connect that to your own life. What are the goals you're chasing? Birkeland makes us ask. What are you willing to really pour yourself into, even when it gets tough?
Yeah, and how can you maybe see setbacks, not just as failures, but as, well, potential turning points, like his cannon failure leading to the fertilizer?
Exactly. How can you turn your own obstacles into opportunities? Are you ready to invest in your passion, even if the payoff isn't obvious or immediate?
What dreams are you willing to chase, even if people tell you they're impossible?
Birkeland's whole life is kind of a challenge to us, isn't it? It's saying, be curious, ask questions, don't just accept things.
Right, and hold on to your convictions when things get rough.
He left us with that amazing quote, didn't he? Dare to look up. Dare to ask why.
And when the world says impossible, let your answer be, I have it.
Powerful stuff.
It really is. So the invitation here is to take that spirit forward. Embrace your own ability to discover, to innovate, to see things differently.
Yeah, let Birkeland's journey maybe ignite your own light.